Boyfriend says he works 70 hours a week to pay all his girlfriend's bills so she doesn't have to work. Let's see what this is about.
We don't go 50-50 in our relationship.
So we don't go 50-50 in our relationship because I work 70 hours a week and I pay all her bills. She a stay-at-home girlfriend because we don't got no kids. We live separately, so I pay the bills at her house and my house, take care of her like the queen she is. And you do stuff, what you do? Just let them know what you do too. Pack my lunch and stuff like that.
Yeah, sometimes I'll pack him like a little Lunchable.
I don't think this is serious. This is not serious. No way a man today in his right mind is working 70 hours for a woman that is not his wife, paying all her bills, and all she's giving in exchange is a Lunchable. Like, isn't that what you get when you're like 6? I don't even think this is real. But let's just continue for the sake of seeing their point.
To go in his lunchbox, or
you make the best Lunchables.
I know.
Yeah, this is not.
You like the pizza ones or you like the sandwich ones?
I like the ones with the crackers in it and the cheese. And
yeah, the little sandwich. Yeah, little cracker sandwich.
Yeah, this is not real.
He usually gotta buy himself something else because he act like, I don't know. Sometimes he act like he's still hungry after that, which I don't know why he's still hungry after I just packed you at lunch.
My check go direct deposit to her account every week. I don't want her to feel like she don't.
They are definitely they're playing. I do not think this is real, but it does really open up an interesting conversation about the dating expectations that people have today in this dating world. Everything from the decline we see in relationships as far as people not marrying the way that they used to, people no longer feeling the need, the desire, or even the want to marry and commit and make covenants with each other and God. So them really abandoning that traditional system and that traditional setup, but still at the same time trying to maintain these roles that were traditionally held for people in marriage, right? Maintaining the role that the man pays all the bills, maintaining the role that the woman maybe cooks and cleans, although, I mean, she's not even really cleaning at this point. I mean, Lunchables, that's a joke. So it definitely opens up this interesting conversation about what's going on today, the expectations that men have, the expectations that women have, and how that is fitting while people are continuing to abandon marriage and walk away from that, which has been, instrumental for the majority of human history. But let's continue with the next part. I think there's another part.
She ever got to go out and work for anything, so I got my stuff going direct deposit straight to her. If y'all men out there want a pretty woman, y'all gotta do stuff like this. Is this how you get them?
If you want a good woman in your life, why would you not want to pay for everything she has, pay her bills, get her toes, nails, stuff done? I just feel like a real man would do that for his woman, especially if he loved her. You love me, right?
I love you. Kiss me, man. Kiss me first. No, kiss me on the lips.
Not right now.
No, kiss me on the lips.
Yeah, this is satire.
Stop. She ever got to go out and work?
Yeah, they are not serious. There is no way. I refuse to believe that is serious. I refuse to believe it. But it was funny. It got people talking. I'm sure it got a lot of people in the comments like, what is going on? But really, a couple of things, again, this brings up. We're thinking about the relationship dynamics that are going on. What is expected in a relationship? A stay-at-home girlfriend to me sounds really ridiculous, quite frankly, in my opinion. Because it's like playing house. At that point, to me, it's like you're playing house. Like, really commit, go all the way, or just not. But to me, this kind of halfway in, halfway out dynamic creates kind of what you saw there, which was satire, which was kind of comedic, because it's really hard, I think, to build something really strong and beautiful out of people who are not fully committed. And so, we see this a lot, like I said, again, with the declining marriage rates, with more kids being born out of wedlock, while at the same time, the birth rate itself is kind of stagnant or in some places declining. We see that, and yet there are still these very much expectations put on men and women that kind of come from this traditional mindset, come from the traditional setup, but don't necessarily fit in the modern context. And that is creating a lot of different confusion, quite frankly. At the end of the day, I do think people get to decide exactly how they want their own relationship to run and what works for them. That is an individual choice that cannot be really controlled by anybody else other than those two individuals. I personally believe that with respect to marriage, and especially with respect to family, going back to what God originally created is always the best way. And marriage was never about a governmental contract. That is a misconception. Marriage was always something that was created by God for man and woman to come together and to create something that is not only glorifying to him, but ultimately going to create a strong, stable foundation for the children and for generations to come. Anytime we see marriages start to decline, and anytime we start to see families fall apart in a community, in a nation, it usually always points to moral decline in the long run. So this is why I always believe a return back to God's ways and a return back to the simplicity of a healthy, loving family is really crucial for the success of families and ultimately communities. And when it comes to these gender roles and when it comes to who is doing what, I think it's first important to have a strong commitment, because if people are kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, you're playing house, but you never really go all the way, so that in the event somebody just messes up one day, you can leave them. There's not really any skin in the game. And at that point, it's like, what can you really build that's substantial? What legacy can you really lead for your children when there isn't that willingness and commitment to even decide to be for one another long term? And then also, like, even this whole concept of what is a good woman? She mentioned in there, men should be willing to pay the bills of good women. How do you define a good woman? Just because a woman is pretty, just because a woman knows how to do her hair or gets her nails done, her lashes done, whatever, does not mean that she is good. Does not mean she is good. She may look good, but that does not mean that she is good. Goodness, these are characteristics that are internal. This is character. This is integrity. This is humility. This is loyalty. Okay, this is godliness. This is a willingness to grow, learn, evolve, be patient, be teachable, be willing to work together, cooperative. Okay, useful. These are qualities that go far beyond the person's look. So just because a woman is beautiful doesn't mean that she is good. And if the only expectation that she has is that she sits and be that she's pretty, and that her prettiness means that she is owed the pocketbook of that man and she doesn't really have to do anything else, she doesn't have to put out in any other way, that is not a good setup. That is certainly not a good setup to maintain a relationship long term, and that is certainly not a good setup to maintain a healthy family and build a good legacy. So very interesting skit. I believe it was a skit. It does open up an interesting conversation about these relationship dynamics, what's going on today, what people are expecting versus what is realistic, and the difference between really being in this kind of halfway relationship, this playing house, and how toxic that can be when you're playing house, when you don't have two people who are fully committed, one person who is fully committed, that man who's paying all those bills, and a woman who is really half-hearted. That kind of dynamic can only last for so long. But eventually, a man who is healthy and has a healthy sense of self cannot sustain in an environment where he is putting out, and she is giving the minimal effort. Being a good woman is not just because you look good. What makes a good woman is not her looks, isn't how she can dress, how she can turn heads, whatever. I mean, that's nice, but that is one aspect of it. Being a good woman is character. So that's the problem when you are playing house, when you're not fully committed to one another and marriage and building a strong foundation for a family, for setting a precedence for generations. When you're playing house, it can create these imbalances within relationships that make it hard to last long term. And then again, just because you get married doesn't mean things are going to be perfect, right? You have to even learn how to get along, to learn what does it mean to build within a marriage? What does it mean to build a strong foundation for a family and things like that? So that itself takes a journey, and then it takes a willingness to become one, right? Or it takes a willingness to really come together. But at least when two people are committed, they've committed to one another in that sense. Then the qualities are there, and then the basic qualities are there to help it grow and evolve into something that can last and be substantial. But when you just have people playing house is what you really have going on a lot today. Stay-at-home girlfriends, people who are paying for bills for women who are not committed to them. It creates all this chaos that we have going on today. Anyways, I wanted to look real quickly at the comments and see what people thought. It says, I think this is satire. Yeah, absolutely. This is absolutely satire. This one says, Lord. It says, take care of him because he a fool. This is satire, y'all. It says, once I heard the Lunchable line, I knew this was fake. Biggie Smalls ain't eating no Lunchable. That, y'all disrespectful for that one. He low-key doesn't like Biggie Smalls, though. That forehead kiss is all I need to know. If you know, you know. Yeah, because I agree with the concept, but not the practicality that he's choosing to go about it. So 70 hours a week either means your job is very demanding or you're being very inefficient. If it's very inefficient, then you have to get a job that pays the same with less time involved. If it's more demanding, then you have to find ways to lessen the workload. 40, 50 hours is reasonable, right? I could agree with what he's saying. But it also sounds like that user believes that, okay, it is completely okay to have a job that maybe requires a lot of hours, but just make sure that the hours you're putting on is actually worth the pay. You said, I knew this is fake when she said this old line man for lunch. This is trolling at its finest. This is definitely a sketch, a skit, a skank, whatever word y'all be using. It says she don't love him. She loves what she can get from him. A woman that loves you does not want you working 70 hours a week. That is true. That is actually very true. A woman who loves you actually really does want to spend time with you. And so she may like the money, but if that 70 hours work week exists long term, she might start to also be discontent because she no longer has time with you. So that is actually another very good point. Let me see. He said I almost died when she said Lunchables. Because they trolling us, she won't even kiss him on the lips. Stay-at-home girlfriend with 0 kids. He works 70 hours a week and has to beg for a kiss. This can't be real. This is not real. What do stay-at-home girlfriends do? An occasional Lunchable for 70 hours a week. The math isn't math then. She finessing the... Okay, it says anything to brag having a light skin. It says some of y'all slow. The Lunchable and forehead kiss has me screaming. So y'all, yeah. So I think most people in there weren't buying it. A lot of them were like, y'all, this is fake. Satirical, whatever, and it does really open up this interesting conversation about relationship dynamics. What are people doing today? What are people expecting? And what ultimately is going to lead to something healthy? So anyways, what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know. Leave your questions, comments, concerns in the comment section below. Thank you so much for listening. If you've got this far, and we'll talk later. Bye.